Good afternoon. How are we all doing? Afternoon, Crom, Steve, Amy, Philip, Fletch, Tammy. How are we doing? Ready to kill it this afternoon? Today's the day. Gonna kill it today. Afternoon, Henricus. Need to smash it. Thanks for update.news. There you go. Oil had a bit of movement. So we've broken out of that trend line, or trend lines, long. So we may well be going for the recent highs. So we've got 2 week ago high. Whoops. There. We've got monthly high and then previous month's high all the way back there. So in fact, I don't think that is the previous month's high. Previous month's high is up here. But that is a high, obviously, sort of inter-month high, if you like. So there's those three levels. There's one in the middle there as well. So there's lots of potential bounce points coming up on oil if you're interested. But I'm not going to take that breakout long. But those trend lines are now invalid. There you go. So that was based off of the back of the announcement that the Saudi energy minister told the OPEC conference they will do whatever is necessary to support the markets. So obviously just rallying, by support the markets, they mean get more price for oil, obviously, because that's their goal. So we had that news this morning. Other than that, the only other news we've had is traders. I hate it when they say this. Traders raise the Bank of England wages. Who are these traders? What they should do is classify. Who do you mean? Do you mean institutions? Do you mean Goldman Sachs? Do you mean retail traders sitting there not having a clue what they're talking about? Who's a trader? So anyway, they are 50% of them are factoring a 6.5 rate rise as a terminal rate now on the UK, on the pound. We were looking at 6.25. They are now factoring in 6.5. So again, more bullish sentiment specifically for the pound. No real reaction to that though. So the pound's not really rallied, dropped, done anything off the back of that news. Pound US dollar's running a little bit. We've got a bit of weakness coming in the US at the minute, but that's about it. So that's your news this morning. Nothing else. We've got no news today apart from FOMC at 7 o'clock. So market kicks off or doesn't at 7 p.m. today. So it'd be interesting to see if we get an open today. You would expect after a bank holiday in the US that we get a lot of volatility. We typically do the day after a bank holiday because the market has orders built up, ready to go. We have had quite a substantial sell-off. There's 3/4 of an ADR sell-off already happened across the board in all three US indices today. Not so much in the NASDAQ, but the Dow and the S&P have already sold off a fair bit. So we've had a little bit of movement pre-market, but I wouldn't be surprised to see ADRs today. However, we've obviously got FOMC. We will see, but ready to crack on this afternoon. Sorry, I've been watching Love Island. I have to say crack on all the time now. The DAX rather this morning, absolutely nothing. So basically the DAX this morning, we had that big sell-off pre-market. The pre-market range was there, or sorry, the 5-minute opening range was there. Went long and short, hedged, stopped out on the shorts, and literally total rotation session so far in longs still. Going for the gap fill. So DAX is still in play, not stopped out yet, just waiting, sitting there, hoping. But yeah, so that's the DAX from this morning. So that's your morning roundup done. There's a couple of ADRs. We've got 4 minutes to the open. So there's 3 ADRs to look at today. CAD yen, straight down into ADR. ADR is there, which is where this black line is, which happens to coincide with a weekly resistance support. Straight into ADR, straight off. So if you took a 5-minute reversal on that one today, it was back there. But it depends on your broker. Some may have it there. That candle there may have been a bull candle, may have been a bear candle. Difficult to tell. but on my broker, that was a bull candle. So that was the reverse alert. If not, you got the reversal alert there off of that V shape. So it is starting to push up, but that is a big old sell-off we had today. So lots of good strength on the yen. So CAD yen hit, Euro CAD. We've had some movement on the Canadian dollar, which is why these are all CAD based. But so Euro CAD straight up into ADR. Reversal alert's just gone in at the highs there. Look, so that's a really nice little reversal alert there. There's your trigger. You would have also had one trigger there as well. So that would have been the entry this morning. And then obviously you've pushed up. Second entry's gone in there a little bit higher if you missed the first one, but that's coming down very nicely now. And US dollar CAD, that was an ADR hit as well to the upside. Absolutely perfect. Straight up into ADR. Reversal alert straight off. So we'll see where these go. We've got a few minutes to the open. So there's your ADRs basically today. God, that's come off hard, isn't it? US dollar really selling off quite hard at the moment. Head of the news. Or is that Canadian dollar? Difficult to tell. You would expect the Canadian dollar to rally off the back of the oil news, which obviously oil is rallying. Yeah, Euro CAD coming down. I would say this is mostly Canadian dollar strength that we're seeing, this US dollar CAD. So we've got a bit of a weakness in the US dollar, and the Canadian dollar's rallying at the same time, which is bringing this down hard at the minute. We'll see what happens at the open. So there's your ADRs. There's a few RSIs. We'll have a look at those in a minute. I'm just going to watch this. I've got this version of the ORB EA running on a funded account, and I just want to babysit it at the open. This is running on my E8 account, and it's the spreads are a bit wider on E8, so I just want to see how this performs. We'll find out in a minute. How long we got? 50 seconds to the open, and obviously the DAX is still in play. For me, anyway, from this morning. Afternoon, everybody. I haven't said hello to. Ready to kill this afternoon? Hopefully so. Afternoon, Burke. Market reversal or dips, depending. Has us back to even. Slight profit from buying dips and chasing. Gold spiking, like my blood sugar. Yeah, will be. US dollars dropping. Gold will be going up. Hi, Virginia. Miura. David. My favourite streamer and community. That's nice to hear, David. Always nice to have you aboard. Afternoon, Yarp. Haven't seen you for a while. Peter, afternoon. Okay, bit twitchy, the market. Okay, we're open. Cool, that was quick execution. So no trades taken there. Range too small. Range too small. Pre-market 15 taken on the Dow. Thinking about it. NASDAQ's going fast. So if you took the pre-market fives, they were really small ranges today. But if you did take them, well done. TP, pretty much TP. If you took the pre-market 15s, well done. TP. Maybe TP. But market really pulling back on the Dow at the moment. So nice big rally on the NASDAQ at the open. So beautiful ORB if you took that one. Or pre-market range break, rather. 5 or 15, you've absolutely killed it today. That's a 3R, easy. Very nice. Come on, Dow, let's go with them, shall we? Be nice. So the 5-minute opening range, maximum range is 4273. Just about inside at the moment. Be tricky, might not get into that. Real indecision on the Dow at the open. I was expecting a little bit more than this today, to be honest, but we have put quite a big, I'd say we've done a 3/4 of an ADR basically drop today. So maybe the market's kind of exhausted itself before the open. So just pulling up into the highs on the NASDAQ. S&P's got quite a way to go. S&P pre-market trying to get you profit. I don't think I've got the... oh, yeah, I have. No, I haven't. That's a standard one. Just about 1.5, 2 are on the S&P. NASDAQ, you've absolutely smashed it. Regardless of which pre-market range you took, your 4 are very nice. Dow's really struggling. That's good. So they've taken the same trades, which is nice today. Okay. Afternoon, Gable. Michael, afternoon. We'll have a look at the FX market in a minute. See what that's up to. I'm not trading the NASDAQ or the S&P this afternoon. I'm literally only trading the Dow over here. So we're just coming up to 30. That's futures. We're coming up to 34.32, which is potentially this gap fill. We've got this area here to have a look at as potential resistance. Failing that, I would look to come all the way up to the highs there on the Dow, seeing as the rest of the market is rallying hard. But the Dow does not do what the S&P and the NASDAQ do, as we know. So let's see where we go. Okay, we've got 20 seconds left on this first 5 minutes. Okay. So nice ORBs across the board. Okay, 5-minute opening range being taken on the S&P. NASDAQ's far too big today, so leave that one. See if we can continue this rally. So let's have a quick look at where we're potentially going on these. So the Dow today, we've got, there's no gaps anywhere on the US indices at the moment. So from an upside perspective, we're pulling back into the support rectangle at the moment. So this is the last down candle before the high was made. So that's the last attempt at a move to the downside before the rally. So we're rallying out of this at the moment straight into propulsion. The upside targets on this is literally going to be this weekly high from last week, failing that monthly high. So that is ADR today. So 100 ADR is basically exactly last week's high. And then 150 ADR is last month's high. So those are your upside targets for the Dow. Downside targets for the Dow, that accumulation, I would say, which is around about 100 ADR as well. So could go either way, this one. Market is bullish at the moment on the Dow, but not convincing. We are trying really hard to get momentum started to the upside again, get this bull run going, but it's just struggling all the time. So we keep rallying and then dumping hard, and then rallying and then dumping, then rallying and dumping. So This could be a pullback to the 24.72 zone, basically, before it attempts to go long again. Or this could be the new low, high, higher low, higher high rally that we're putting in. So see if we can get that run. Dow is just pulling back a little bit, trying to. S&P, we've come off the highs. So this purple line is last month's high, which is in from last month, obviously, which basically June pretty much ended at the highs. So since then, obviously, all we've done is we pulled back a little bit into this area here, which is where we are currently sitting. So again, same sort of thing. We may well pull back, do a nice deep pullback, that being the low, high, putting in a higher low somewhere there. We're going to continue to the upside. NASDAQ, same thing, except on the NASDAQ, we've put very much the same sort of thing as the S&P in place at the moment, but NASDAQ's obviously rallying an awful lot harder at the moment. So we will see. Dow is pulling back off the highs. Still rallying. So gone long on the S&P. NASDAQ still rallying. Dow is struggling. We'll see where we go. Right. Leave those for a sec and just watch what they're doing. I'm just protecting that Dow on my other account. Don't trust it. We've basically just rallied straight into that level and met sellers. So if this is going to go short, that's possibly where we're going to meet some resistance. So I've just protected the position, put a stop loss just under that low, under that high rather, which will become potentially a low. Just taking a small loss on it. This is my funded, what I call my funded account, which is my funded account that is actually funded, that I get paid out on. So I'm a little bit overcautious with it. I'm just protecting the capital in it a little bit more. Right, we'll come back to those and see where they go. Right, RSIs. So we covered this morning every currency. Went through everything this morning, basically had a look at where everything's sitting. So if you want to have a look at that, it's on this morning's replay. I'm not going to go through every pair again, but the main focus is at the moment the yen. So I feel like I'm going to sneeze. At the minute, we're waiting for this yen intervention or not, whichever they decide to do. So with all the yen pairs at the moment, we are completely stuck in a range. We have been stuck in a range from anywhere between 5 to 10 days now. So Aussie dollar yen, we got that high put in, we've pulled back nicely, and we've sat there completely sideways. CAD yen, we're completely sideways. We have put in a new low today, so we got that break. This is what I spoke about this morning. I said these lows here, if we can break these lows and hold these lows today, that could well open the floodgates for the profit take move off of this. So the market is waiting and building an accumulation here. The banks are building an accumulation here, waiting to move it. They will either pull it down and rally, i.e. they'll entice everyone to go short, grab that liquidity, or they will start a move. So we'll wait and see what happens with it. But we have broken that low. It's pulled back very, very nicely into propulsion, and the sellers are stepping back in on the CAD yen. Swiss yen, very similar thing. Yeah, so we didn't manage to get that low. So we tapped into yesterday's low. If you remember, I said, watch this level for limit order triggers, which basically happened. So we watched this morning, remember, when the limits triggered there. So that's pulled down, haven't managed to make a new low on it. Euro, haven't quite managed to make a new low, but again, price action certainly is bearish today. So if we can break that level, hold that level, get some downside momentum off of FOMC maybe this evening, we should start that move, hopefully. Pound yen, sideways. We're on day 4. New Zealand yen. That's the only one that has made a rally. The New Zealand got a little bit of a boost off the back of the Aussie dollar rates. But nice M pattern reversal gone in there. So potentially that one's starting to roll over as well. We're just painting an inside bar on the Dow at the moment. US dollar yen, that has started to roll over. So we got weak US dollar today. So all of these yens, again, critical point. We've been here before. Look, been here before many times. Yeah, we are in a range. So all this is the lower the range. Nothing's confirmed yet. But if we can break and hold that level, that's going to open it up for a drop. So obviously propulsion gaps for targets to the downside. We've got this multi-day accumulation there, which we broke out of. They bought that back up again. We haven't tested this area since we bought that level. So again, when we hit that level, potentially we're going to find some limit orders triggering. It's a really nice inside bar forming on the Dow, if anybody's not in the Dow at the moment. Sorry, there is on futures. It's not on FX. But yeah, break to the upside on the Dow potentially. Yeah. So all these yens looking hopeful. We need the next few hours in New York just to hammer that home. If we can get that, there's a good chance on FOMC. If we get a whipsaw, they'll clear the decks and rally with it. So hopefully we might get that move started. So that's all the yens. That's the main focus at the moment. This Dow's really rejecting those highs. Big style. Threes of tops. Got 1 minute left on this candle. So see where this closes, but sellers firmly in control, selling into that level at the moment. So it's that propulsion gap. Basically, they push down, hit it. This is the retest. Potentially. Obviously, we'll see if the buyers have got enough oomph today. 15-minute chart looks very, very nice at the moment, though. Holding that high. There's not really any resistance until we get back up into that propulsion gap. So, as I say, there's plenty of room. The upside on it. It's just whether or not we can get through this this area where it's getting stuck at the moment. S&P's out the highs. Okay, so watch this candle here on the Dow. If we break back down from there, I would say that's probably a rejection. Let's see, certainly looks bullish though, doesn't it? Afternoon, Brian. So RSIs. So I'm not going to cover the rest of the FX pairs. We're just going to look at what is extended at the minute. Everything else we covered this morning. So Aussie, New Zealand, nicely extended to the downside at the moment. We were looking at this level as a bounce. It didn't hold, basically. So this morning when we looked, we were sitting down at yesterday's low. It's come down through that. So more strength on the New Zealand dollar. So next potential stop on this is, I would say, back into the propulsion gap fill. So there's not really any real decent resistance or support levels to look at. So at some point, I think we're probably maybe going to come all the way back down. Aussie dollar not particularly strong off the back of the rate freeze, which you would expect. It's not good news. So the New Zealand dollar can take over now and rally, and it certainly has been doing that today and yesterday. So it is extended on the hourly. It's just about extended on the 4 hour as well. I would much rather see it get down below this 20 level By the time it's done that, you'll be somewhere around here where we'll be looking for some kind of buying pressure to come through. So on the hourly, we have had a bit of a profit take on this move. So it's a bit of a flag break, but it's deep enough to be a profit take. It's nearly 50% of that move. It's certainly 38% retracement. Yeah. So there's your 38, there's your 50. We tapped straight into the 50% retracement. So that's just a standard pullback on market structure. So looks pretty good. I would wait until you get further down to start getting long on that. So wait for a decent extension somewhere down here, and then same as that trade there, get in on the profit take on that move. Inside bar still being painted on the Dow, bearish minute. Stop out, I think. Okay, so broke it to the downside. So that level has been rejected and retested. So this is either going to be a pullback and take a second run up at that level, or this is market structure short. See how the other indices react. Dow, NASDAQ's not looking back. So Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar, that's extended on the 4-hour and the hourly, but only just, not very deep extension yet. Euro, New Zealand, that one was extended. We got a really nice extension on the hourly. Long on that one from yesterday. So entry taken on that there yesterday. That was an ADR. That was around about 150 ADR, something like that. We haven't had a profit take on that move yet. We just pushed, accumulated for a day, pushed down. So again, had the reverse alert on the hourly. That's retesting. So that is going to be your retest candle. Yeah, this one here. So pushing back up into there. I've got a TP at the moment all the way up there. Because I think this has probably got the legs to pull back a lot more than most pairs, because the euro is fairly bullish at the moment. We should be seeing strength come through in the euro at some point, because we've got 2 interest rate rises coming. So it all depends on how strong that New Zealand is, obviously. But the euro is bullish. So is the pound. So I quite fancy holding this for a few days, or maybe into next week even, if it can get some legs. So if we can see that leg starting, this is where we're going to initially hit rejection in this propulsion gap, which is 125 ADR. So if this is going to be a continuation to the downside, that would be a shallow pullback, 38 retracement. So there's your 38 level, that accumulation. So I would look for that propulsion gap to get filled and then to add back into that position. That is a 50% retracement, that propulsion gap there, and 71.9 retracement is in that propulsion gap there. So depending on whether or not the New Zealand dollar's got enough to continue that move down, those are the levels I would look to pull back into. If the euro is going to continue to be strong, yeah, this is a pullback on a new leg high. So there's your low, high, higher low, higher high would be up there. So in that case, if this is a second leg on a bull run, yeah, this is easily going to come up and challenge those highs and potentially exceed those highs, isn't it? So that isn't actually too big of a target to go for. I think that's quite achievable. But the question is that a high, low, and then we're going to move to market structure to the downside, or is it bullish structure? That we don't know, which we will find out. Dow's rejected that pullback. That's why you wait for candle close. Massively bullish. So propulsion gap at the open. Buyers basically added, off we go. So that's Euro New Zealand. So long on that. We have as well the pound New Zealand. Very much the same thing. Pound is bullish. This has held up even better. We've had a much shallower pullback on this one. So again, low, high, higher low, off we go. We've got this hanging over us down here. This is the New Zealand dollar interest rate announcement, which is where all this move started from. I think they're going to find it hard to get back down there. So this looks good for longs. It's not extended on the hourly. It is just about extended on the 4 hour. So this is kind of a 24.72 pullback. So it's anywhere in here is good for longs based off of that move there. So continuation to the upside on that one. Not one I'm taking because it's not extended on the hourly, but that's a nice support bounce. 2 week ago low. There's last week's low. So that looks good. Failing that, you've got last month's low down at 125 ADR. So if you got into a long there, didn't work out, add a second, wait for that push back up into this propulsion. Whippy today. John Wick has officially entered the building today, hasn't he? I'm just going to let that run for the minute. Just that TP, I just want to move that TP. Count. Right. Pound New Zealand, that's extended. New Zealand dollar CAD, so we've got a lot of New Zealand dollar movement, obviously. New Zealand dollar CAD extended to the upside, only just extended above the 70 on the hourly. That's just come out now, so it's only lit up on the 4. So the 4 hour RSI extension is there. Yeah. So we're just coming up into that resistance, not very good resistance. It's bang in the middle of nowhere. So that's really what you want to look at, the monthly. That's 175 ADR. This is the move off the New Zealand interest rate. This is the first pullback, which is 50% of that. We've put in a new low. Now we're 50% of that move there. Yeah. So if it's going to continue to the downside with the New Zealand dollar, this is exactly where you'd look to sell it from. And obviously just short it, maybe back down to a double bottom. Obviously, the Canadian dollar potentially has the power to power up now if we get some more positive news coming out of OPEC. The only thing we've had today is this one piece of news from the Saudis saying basically they will support whatever's needed to keep the prices up. So nothing firm to say we're going to have a strong Canadian dollar. If we are going to get a strong Canadian dollar, though, that's the way that's going. So you can see, obviously, at the minute, we've put that double bottom in. So this is potentially just turning into a range. So if you're going to get in short on that 4 hour RSI extension, take the 15-minute reversal alert, go short, second entry off the bounce there, and you'll probably be able to get out of that. Failing that, we're coming back up into this accumulation. So again, no idea which way it's going, but those are your options. New Zealand dollar Swiss. Got a sell on this already from the hourly RSI extension. So this is extended on the 4 hour. Just about, though, not massive. This Dow's really not sure what it's doing today. We just had a massive, massively bullish candle followed by a massively bearish candle. So for the last 10 minutes, things got absolutely no clue where it's going. All the other indices are holding at the highs as well. So still bullish, but struggling, starting to run out of steam a little bit. New Zealand dollar Swiss, so that's extended on the 4 hour, just about. Nice rejection wicks there. There's your your 2 week high and then your monthly high. So very similar. We're in a downtrend coming up. You're in the 72.24 area, which is good for trend continuations. So it looks like a good looking short still. Obviously, that is if the New Zealand dollar is going to be weak against the Swiss. That is related to the euro. So if the euro is going to power up, the Swiss will power up. Or that will come back down. So it looks good. I took a short on the hourly RSI extension there on Monday. Wednesday, isn't it? Yeah, Monday. Looking to get into a second position on this. Half an ADR on this is 49. So we're only, although it looks like quite a long way, we're only 34 pips in drawdown on it. So it's not actually ready for another position into this one yet. We've had a reversal alert there. That was way too close to the initial position, so didn't get into that. All we've literally done is just accumulate for the entire day today. So it's going to need to push a little bit further for me to take a second entry on that one. We need to get above those highs. Yeah, I think there's a good chance that this is decent structure to the downside forming. A little bit like oil. Highly likely we're going to push down from here. Not getting too greedy on this one though. Swiss franc. But you know, that target at those lows is very possible. That's 2 ADR. So where I've put my TP on this is only just about half an ADR in that propulsion gap, because that's the only target I can see to the downside. Reason I've put it there is if this low is going to be holding, I'm looking for a 50% retracement before a new leg up to test that high. So that gets me out if it retraces 50% before it starts a new leg. So it's realistic target basically to the downside. If it gets a second position on, if it does push up a little bit further today or tomorrow, and I get a second position on there, the average is obviously going to jump up to there, which means that I can move the TP up to somewhere like that in that propulsion, that accumulation, and then look for a pullback into there. If it's going to continue, obviously, if it's going to come down, it doesn't matter. I'm going to take profit on. Dow's stuck. New Zealand dollar Swiss. US dollar CAD is extended on the hourly. So this is a bit annoying, this US dollar CAD. Well, I say that. I quite like that. So that propulsion gap was certainly held, isn't it? It's not a very good propulsion gap, that. That one's nice. Accumulation, break. This one is kind of been formed just with a rally. So we rallied straight up into ADR today, came straight off ADR. So if you took the ADR reversal today, sure, you've been paid out on that. You got 42 pips, which is 3/4 of an ADR. And now it's rallying back up again. So we'll see what happens. But long on this one at the moment, just looking for a push back up. Somewhere up into there, really, just to get out of it. Made some nice money on these aggressive drawdown control positions, which paid for that drawdown. And just looking to get out, really, on it. So long, but no idea where it's going. Obviously, it's the US dollar. We'll find out in FOMC. Brian, Blender Day on the EU for me. Shut it off. EU. Blender Day. It is a bit, yeah, very much a Blender Day today. Oh, my God. Look at this Dow. So if you took the opening range break, you're long. Literally, you're that long. Terrible this morning, this afternoon. Really can't make its mind up what it's doing. I'm just going to put that totally to break even. In fact, I might just bank half of that. And let the other half run. It's just not going anywhere, is it? Don't like that price action at all. We're stuck at this support, basically. That level there. Can't get through it. Buyers are trying very, very hard. They are hitting an iceberg order there, and they are not able to get through. So don't hold up much hope for that. Break even would be a good result on that today. But one win, one break even. S&P, it's got a little bit more room to wiggle on the S&P. And we have broken above that accumulation. So the NASDAQ and the S&P may well get a bit of a run, but the Dow is not doing the same as those guys at the moment. If you compare the two, they're very different. So Euro. So yeah, just a whipsaw rotation day today. So death. But that's not necessarily unsurprising, is it? Considering the fact we got FOMC this evening at 7 o'clock. So I'm quite surprised we've actually had the movement we've had today. But most of that has been caused by other things, hasn't it? There's a lot of money gone into the yen today. So they're piling into the yen ahead of FOMC. It could be that we are going to have something negative come out of FOMC and they're going to rally the yen, and pull out of the US dollar and rally into the yen this afternoon. We'll see what happens, but certainly looks that way at the moment, doesn't it? But as I said, we are only pulling into the lows. Difficult to tell. Stopped out on that DAX. DAX was a nightmare today. Look at that. Doesn't get much tighter than that, does it? $76. So basically half an ADR range all day. Literally just popped up and down half an ADR. You watch this thing go boing, fill that gap. That's the target we had, gap fill. So it's going to stop me out. Now it's going to go and do the gap fill. That's the norm. NASDAQ's just attempted to make new highs. Got beaten back down as well. That is the previous day's high on the NASDAQ. So sitting up at previous day's high. We rejected that this morning. Sorry. Which we are basically hitting limits at the moment. I think there's a good chance that we might well just sit around here until FOMC. So don't add to any orders you've got running at the moment that are in profit. I would just leave them because there's a good chance that we're just going to go into rotation for the rest of the day. But if you can go into rotation and stay in profit, there's a good chance on FOMC you can make a fortune this afternoon. Or not. Might go the other way. We will see. Right, that's everything. Anybody got any other pairs they want to have a look at? So that's all the RSI's done. Hourly candles have just closed, so the RSI's just gone off for the US dollar CAD. It's now come out of extension. Oil has just rejected the previous day's high. So that's your weekly high, which was Monday. We just rejected that. We're waiting for OPEC. What typically happens with OPEC is you get, when the meetings are all finished, I'm not quite sure what time. Yeah, it doesn't say what time it finishes, but what typically happens is when all the leaders come out of the OPEC meeting, you tend to get the press hanging around asking questions. And that's when we get the information about what's happened. And there's typically a spokesperson that comes out and says, the meeting was very productive. This happened, that happened, the other happened. And it gives us an idea as to what their future plans are for oil. They will announce it. But while it's all going on, not a lot happens. And then all of a sudden you get a massive spike. And you'll see that come through financial juice. So just keep your eyes peeled on financial juice. And you'll see, obviously, if there's anything coming out about OPEC, that'll come out there. US factory orders. The US 0.3 on a 0.8, negative US. Not a lot going on. We're stuck. Gold. What about gold? What about gold? Have a look at gold. Come on, John. Hurry up. Gold. So US dollar. US dollar must be rallying again. Not so much. So gold is coming down. Rejected last month's high. Sorry, that's a previous month's low. That's the 2-month low. So we've tapped into that once already and hit it again. Then we finally broke through it, used it as resistance, 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 resistance. So at the moment, it's holding this level. So good area for sells. Obviously, if that is coming down, you're going to need the US dollar to rally. So FOMC, you're going to be looking for hawkish comments this evening so that we've got some strength coming on the US dollar. If that happens, obviously, gold's going to come down and look at last month's low as a target initially, which is 225 ADR today. But you're going to need a strong US dollar to get it down there. And at the moment, we're not seeing that strong US dollar. So gold's actually quite a good gauge for the US dollar at the moment. You're seeing a lot of this sideways movement, which just shows you, that there is no strength in the US at the minute. It's very like push. Can't get anywhere. Little bit of a push. Can't get anywhere. Yeah, that's all we're getting. Literally, it's going from balance, price discovery, balance, price discovery, probably balance for a couple of weeks, or back up into the previous balance area. Not going anywhere, is it? It's stuck. Totally stuck at the moment. Sideways. So we're what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days since we broke that low. And we're exactly where we were 2 weeks ago. So difficult. The whole market is either in a state of squeeze or completely sideways, not able to actually go anywhere, just trying to rally and just getting stuck sideways, which is great for everything else. Everything you're not in a squeeze on, it's just banking all the time. But everything you are in a squeeze on is just not moving. It's just squeezing sideways, as we know with these yen pairs. But we will see. So yeah, that's gold. Afternoon, Neo. So market reversal at CA's banked a few bits and bobs today, but not a lot. We're waiting for FOMC. So I think we need to just look at later and see what happens. What happened to that pound yen? So I got stopped out. If you weren't in the live room this morning, I had 2 aggressive drawdown control positions I put on. Stopped out pretty much to the pip. So I've added that back on again. Well, I've added one back on. I didn't add them both back on. I just added the one back on. Obviously, because I'm not sure whether this is going to rally this afternoon, this evening. But if it does, I don't need much. I need to just get down somewhere to these lows, and that's a break even at the minute. Stop just above the high. That reverse alert on the hourly, I'm hoping, is their last run on liquidity before starting this push to the downside. So we will see where that goes. Okay, anybody got anything else? That's all I've got today. Dow's just about to stop me out on the second position. Break even on the second half. Survived. Don't think I am going to survive, but survive that one. Let's see. Might survive. If this does hold this level, So this is the propulsion gap. I haven't got the indicator on this account, but the propulsion gap basically is there. Actually, the propulsion gap is there. Let's look at the other one where we can see the propulsion gap. So we're in the propulsion gap. Buyers have bought it. We've got 3 minutes left on this candle. So obviously wait for the candle to close, but that is certainly a rejection. Buyers have bought back in. So low, high, higher, low. Looking for a next leg up, back into the highs. Looking good, but as I say, that's the other option, is just sitting there until FOMC. So if only we knew. Right, I'll leave it there. I'll let these all play out basically. So just long on everything at the moment on the indices, but we'll see if it continues to go that way. I'll be back tomorrow at 7:50 for the Frankfurt session, and back obviously 2:20 tomorrow afternoon for the US. Obviously today is all about the FOMC meeting minutes this evening. It isn't the rate announcement and it isn't the press conference, so it is just the meeting minutes. So quite often we literally get nothing happen on it, or we get a whipsaw. Sometimes though there is something said in there where the market goes, oh, and they react to it. So you never know what's going to happen when it's just the meeting minutes on its own. So be prepared. We might get some strong US movement, and obviously if the US moves strong, everything will move strong with it as well. So tomorrow is unemployment claims day. We've got PMIs tomorrow afternoon as well. And then Friday's the big day. It's the unemployment rate for the CAD and the US. So unemployment rates for the CAD and the US are there. And can you see that one? Yeah, just about there. So the US unemployment is going up, which is not good. Again, so if we get a bullish unemployment figure tomorrow, the claims, then obviously is the claims, isn't it, tomorrow? Brain. Yeah, unemployment claims tomorrow. So if we do get unemployment claims rising tomorrow, that'll be bearish US, and then the unemployment rate on Friday, non-farm payroll, we would expect that to be bearish as well, which would be, again, negative US. So tomorrow's a good gauge for whether or not we're going to get a bull or a bear run towards the end of the week. Canadians, again, they're in the same boat. They've got very high unemployment, and it is starting to creep up. Big interest rates cause unemployment to rise. We've got the same problem in New Zealand. They're flat at the moment. Look at the pound starting to slow. So this is why the interest rates are so important. The higher they go, the higher that goes. The higher that goes, the more pressure it puts on that and causes in the GDP to drop. So it's a very important financial figure that we got coming out. So big news towards the end of the week, but tomorrow is going to be a good gauge for that, for the US anyway. And then obviously we'll find out 1:30 on Friday for the CAD. I might come on and trade that actually, because there's no point in trading the US Open on Friday. I won't trade it, but I mean, we'll watch it. But there's no point in trading the US Open on Friday because the move will all have been done by then. We may even find that tomorrow. So we'll see what sort of movement we get tomorrow. Might be not tradable in the afternoon, but we'll know that when we come on in the afternoon. So just be aware of that. All the news coming up. So that's when everything's going to move. And yeah, fingers crossed these yens just completely scream to the downside. And yeah, that'll make my month. Need it. Right. I'll leave it there. Anything you need, let me know. I'll be in Telegram. Other than that, I will see you guys tomorrow. And yeah, have a good rest of the day.